Hello everyone, in today's video we'll be looking at a scenario where the Sasanian Empire returns in 2025, and this empire takes up a lot of countries, but remember to like and subscribe. And the countries this empire takes up is majority of Egypt, pretty much all of Turkey, Iran, all the Caucasian countries, all these stand countries, and yeah, there's a big country or empire. The first thing we see happening is the assassins taking out the countries that have already been destroyed by this. So these countries are Yemen, Oman, the UAE, I almost said Greece. No, it's not Greece, it's Egypt, um, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, the remainder of Uzbekistan. And yet Turkey is able to hold out, I don't know for how long. And the assassins now look like this. Now, they are a very strong Turkey. They're not Turkey. Well, they are, but they're a very strong country. You have Egypt, Iran, pretty much all Turkey, Israel, and majority of Pakistan. And the first thing we see the assassins do is invade the rest of Pakistan. Now, Pakistan has been cut in two, and yeah, they're not going to do so well. Pakistan still is a strong country, but against the assassins, they aren't going to do so well. And before the assassins can capture Islamabad, we see India join this war to try to get as much as Pakistan as they can before the assassins take it all, and India takes the rest, and we can look at this peace treaty. And this is the peace treaty. The assassins are actually quite fair to India and let them have Kashmir and Islamabad. So I want to build relations with India as they're very strong, and the assassins don't want India to be on their bad side. The assassins will also just take over the rest of Kurs something stan. I don't want to call it Kurdistan because it's not Kurdistan, it's Kyrgyzstan. They take over the rest of Kyrgyzstan. The assassins also took a bit of China, but I don't think China cares much. Now to Europe, see something interesting. We see Greece invade Turkey. So Greek soldiers move into Turkey, but it feels like Turkey's being buffed, and the Greeks going really slow. So it looks like foreign power is helping Turkey. Also, I'm gonna do this so it makes a bit more sense. And you wonder why Turkey's pushing back into the assassins during the war on Turkey's side. The assassins are helping Turkey, and this is the first time I've ever changed the empire's colour. And you might be wondering, why would the assassins be helping Turkey? They took most of their land. That's because they want to build relations with Turkey. They see Turkey as an ally, and they're going to help Turkey in the war against the Greeks. And immediately when the assassin troops arrive, Turkey is able to push the Greeks all the way out of their country. And it looks like the assassins are one with Turkey, but no, they're not. In, Tur- in Turkish and assassins, I hate this blue colour, and this blue is actually so bad. And Turkish and assassin troops move into Greece. There's still some parts of this assassin empire that's painted red, like Cyprus and these islands, but they should be blue. Anyways, the assassins take Athens, and Turkey up north is able to meet up with the main assassin army, which Greece surrenders, and we can look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, we see Turkey take a majority of Greece, but the assassins also take a lot, like the more important areas of Greece. But the Turkish and assassins will form an alliance. And as a show of friendship, they will declare war on Bulgaria, as well as, yeah, just a majority of these countries. Serbia doesn't get involved as they don't want to die, but Kosovo does. And yeah, let's look at this war. Turkish troops will move into North Macedonia as well as Albania, and Sasanian troops will mainly focus on Bulgaria taking the whole coast and just sweeping through the country, as Bulgaria is very weak, and they take Sofia, which crumbles Bulgaria, and they just fall on. And yeah, before the Sassanians and Turks can take the rest of these countries, Serbia joins war. It's not surprising. I mean, they do have friendly relations with Montenegro, but yeah, you're just gonna have to backstab them, and we can look at this treaty. And in this treaty, we see a lot happens. Serbia gets some land. The Sassanians take the coast of Bulgaria, but the majority goes to Turkey. And some countries are not going to like how aggressive Turkey and the Sassanians, and to an extent, Serbia is. And Serbia doesn't like this, so we see a little something like that. And these countries will all form an anti-imperialist alliance. And those countries are Romania, Moldova, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Djibouti and Eritrea, as well as Sudan, Libya. And yeah, these countries all do not like the Sassanians or their allies, as they're being extremely aggressive. But the Sasanian alliance will be able to get one country to join the alliance, which is South Sudan, as they don't like Sudan. They're going to try and get India, but India is neutral. They're going to also try to get Ethiopia, saying we will give you access to the sea, but the Ethiopians are still saying no. And yeah, this is a pretty big alliance. Now, really, no countries on the Blue Alliance is strong. I mean, Romania, probably like one of their strongest, if not their strongest members, as well, Saudi Arabia lost a lot, but I'd say they're the strongest. And yeah, this alliance honestly isn't fair for the blue team, so I'm going to give them a few more countries. These countries are, that is the wrong colour. These countries are, yeah, Ukraine also joins this alliance as they're scared. And Ethiopia will kind of backstab these guys, as well as Tunis and Italy. And yeah, now this alliance is looking a bit more fair. But the Sassanians are able to get one more ally, which is Hungary. So they don't like Romania. And we can look at this wall. Immediately, Serbian and Hungarian troops will move into Croatia, and they will be able to take a majority of the country, but they're not able to take all of it. And over on the border with Romania, the Serbian and Hungarian troops will move into the country, as well as Ukraine. But Romania will mobilise its army, that's not a word, it's army. Over in Kazakhstan, yeah, they stand no chance. Even though the Assassins weren't expecting, Kazakhstan to join the war, they're still really strong. Kazakhstan will be able to push back, as the Assassins, of course, didn't expect this, so only the troops that were on Kazakhstan's border were close with or invading, so Kazakhstan's able to cut these guys off. But once again, Kazakhstan, they're not strong at all. They're really weak. Not the weakest country in the world, or one of the weakest. But, they're not strong at all. And, yeah, Kazakhstan will get annihilated. And quickly these troops reconnect up over here. And, yeah, Kazakhstan probably just surrender, but they're not going to. Over in Arabia, we're seeing some little invasions into Saudi Arabia. As Saudi Arabia, they need to be taken out as soon as possible. But the Saudi Arabians won't just be invaded, they will also invade. First of all, South Sudan. And that blue's better. Yeah, I like that blue. First of all, South Sudan's obliterated. This island here is taken, and Ethiopia will be able to land in the south of Yemen. And this greatly helps Saudi Arabia. It's able to split this land into the southern Arabian parts from the Sasanian Empire wing. And over in Libya, they start an invasion with some Italian and Tunisian help. But where the blue team will struggle is first in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is wiped out, and in Europe, as all of Croatia is taken, and naval battles in the Adriatic are pretty hot. The Assassins will invade into Crimea, making the Russians kind of scared as they think they're going to take it all. But Russia will do nothing. All of Crimea is taken, and yeah, the assassins will move out. But Ukraine is a strong country, and they will be able to push back, but not push into Ukraine, into Crimea. And over in Romania, stuff's not going good for them. They lose their coast, and the assassin troops will start going up the Ukrainian coast, okay, taking this major city. And the Battle of Bucharest is fought, which is a stalemate. But all along Romania's borders, yeah, Romania, they're not doing well. They lose all this land, and now it's only Bucharest which is able to hold out English. And Ukraine's also been destroyed. But where the red team is still struggling is in Arabia and Africa. Saudi Arabia has mobilized its entire army to push back the Sasanian troops, and they're able to cross into Egypt and make an amphibious landing, and this pretty much destroys the Egyptian and the guards here. Well, not guards, troops. As they go up the Nile River, they take it, and only this part of Egypt is left, as all these African countries are focusing on Egypt. But Ethiopia is focusing on the red team, the assassin part down here, and they will link up with Saudi Arabia's borders. They'll start moving in. Eventually, all this land is taken, and the assassins start moving troops down here. But Bucharest finally falls, which is great for the red team, as now Ukraine can be targeted. Ukraine loses all of its coast, and Kachau and the Kyiv is taken. Now Ukraine could put up a better fight than that, but they kind of have to be rushed. I mean, you wonder why. Well, there's a bigger problem down here, the Saudi Arabians. The assassins will start another invasion which goes a lot better this time. They're able to fight off the Saudi armies, and yeah, Saudi Arabia isn't looking too good, but they are still continuing the advance in Sasanian territory, moving along the coast. But they will meet up with the invading Sasanian troops and will fight right here in a cool battle, but I can't show it. But it ends in a Sasanian victory, and these troops are pushed back. And yeah, the assassins will try to cut these troops in half, which does go successful. It's able to take all the land back and go into ocean apparently. The assassins will also start moving troops to Egypt, which is great for Egypt. There's a bit things happening where the red is going into the water. That's because it's a teal colour, so it matches with the water colour. But they go down the Nile River and they take it up, and Egypt is now back under their control. That rhymes. Eventually they start an invasion of Libya, and they go along the coast. Libya is centered along the coast. They invade a bit into the desert. This is kind of a distraction to get some Libyan troops down to the desert so they can fight on the coast, which Libya, I mean, they lose Tripoli. And Tunisia, they're not doing good too. They lose Carthage. And with this happening, these countries will surrender, and a landing on landing on Sardinia occurs. It's a red victory. And there's even a landing on the boot of Italy and in Sicily. So yeah, Italy's kind of on the front watch. There's also another landing over in Venice, and it's successful. And they split Italy in two, but these northern troops here will be able to hold out. Over in Saudi Arabia, we see more and more red team success as they're able to take a lot of the coast of Saudi Arabia, which cripples the nation, as Saudi Arabia is very, their coast is very important, and these troops will start to be pushed out of Red Team territory going into the water, but eventually all these troops are pushed out. Hello? All these troops are pushed out of Sasanian territory and they fix the water problem. And with this, another invasion of Saudi Arabia happens, and this invasion eventually just takes out the whole nation, which is a big blow to the blue team. As well as in Italy, all these northern troops here die, and with this, Italy's a lot weaker. This take Rome, which is awful, and Italy surrenders. So the blue team knows it only has time, that all of these countries here, the landing is made into Djibouti, and yeah, it's assassin to take the land back here. We can make, yeah, they take it back. That's the wrong colour. They take back this island, and the blue team, they know that they're going to lose. So some countries will just pull out of the war, and only one country will pull out of this war. It's going to be Ethiopia. They don't want to fight, as they lose. So yeah, it's just Sudan, and eventually Sudan surrenders, and we can look at this peace treaty between all these nations. I'm still recording. So in the treaty, a lot happened, but before I show the treaty, I'm gonna come to Romania, who just unites with Moldova. So yeah, the treaty. So first of all, the assassins take all of Kazakhstan, all of Saudi Arabia, a lot of these African countries. South Sudan gets the rest of Sudan, but over to Ethiopia, they gain land as a thank you for pulling out of the war. So yeah, just over to the assassins' allies. Of course, Romania destroyed, not Kazakhstan, Ukraine destroyed. Hungary gets a lot of its land back and some land in Turkey. Serbia doesn't get too much land. Same with Turkey. But yeah, that'll do it for today's episode. And this Sasanian Empire is humongous. They're probably rivaling the size of Russia. That's how big they are. And also, the assassins did take some land out of Russia, like this much. I don't know. Anyways, that'll do it for today's episode. Hope you've enjoyed it, and bye everyone.